Welcome back, everyone. This is Dave from Cormorant Productions, here to talk about This Is Us, Season 6, Episode 6, titled Our Little Island Girl. It was directed by Kevin Hooks, written by Dan Fogelman, and Susan Kelechi Watson. If that name sounds familiar, it should, because it is series star who plays Beth in this series. The episode's description reads as follows. Beth prepares for her dancers for the first big dance recital at her new job. Before going any further, I will tell you a couple of things. One, this is not a spoiler-free video, so if you haven't watched the episode, please go and check it out and then watch my video. Secondly, if you like this video and want to support the channel, please hit me up with a like, a share, a comment, and please subscribe to my channel. Now, this is going to be a much quicker hit than the norm. For starters, I had a bad week this week. Really, I've had a bad couple of months, but really bad this week. So this video has been delayed by a couple of days, and honestly, if I go beyond today, after the new episode airs, it's really not going to be worth doing. So I just want to share some of my thoughts on this episode real quick, and maybe at some point I'll do a longer form video on this episode, but not now. And maybe not, because when it comes down to it, I didn't actually care for this episode that much. This should have been a Beth-centric episode through and through, and cut out a lot of the flab. The strongest portion of the episode was the Beth content. Now, I don't have much appreciation for ballet or dance, but I do have a appreciation for passion, and that is very evident throughout the episode with Beth. And it was good to see Carl Lumbly back as Beth's father. I know him from the Mantis show from a long time ago, as well as his one appearance on The West Wing. The parts of the episode that I didn't really care for was pretty much everything else. Let's start with Kevin's thread, which, when it comes down to it, is about Kevin and Madison failing to co-parent in regards to Thanksgiving plans. Kevin just assumes that Madison is going to want to take the babies and fly to the cabin to spend Thanksgiving with the family. And Madison actually doesn't want to do that, but this really should have been a discussion for starters. It shouldn't have been Kevin assuming, Madison making up her mind for that conversation. That's how co-parenting works. But honestly, I wasn't really thrilled to be watching the whole thread anyway. Like, how many more adventures in co-parenting or the struggles in co-parenting are you gonna make me sit through? It's been quite enough. And honestly, I don't really like the way the episode handles it. It handles it in a one-sided affair. Kevin is just wrong. And yes, the way he acts and the way he reacts is not good. But at the same time, these issues of, hey, where's the kid gonna go for Thanksgiving? How is it gonna work out? Is a lot more complicated than what the episode presents. I don't like that they just made Kevin straight up wrong. And honestly, I just don't want to be watching any more of this. I would like to move on. I'm not really thrilled with how they've treated Madison and Kevin this year. I was okay with it at the start, but it's starting to wear on me. It's just kind of frustrating after spending most of the season developing their relationship to just have it be like it is now. For starters, I haven't liked the whole, oh, it's not my family thing from Madison. That's the general attitude we've gotten so far this season, and last season it was made to be a big deal of her basically becoming a part of the family. Whether she was married to Kevin or not, she was having his kids. So that, in my mind, shouldn't have changed anything. The fact that they didn't get married in the finale. In fact, I don't know why they broke up, honestly. Okay, fine, Kevin wasn't in love with her at that moment, but they could have stayed together and maybe seen how things went from there, rather than just straight up breaking up. But anyway, that's a general season problem and not a problem with this episode. There's the past timeline with Miguel and co, which seems to be Thanksgiving Eve and not Thanksgiving itself. I thought Thanksgiving was going to happen during the course of this episode, but it turns out not to be the case. This is just setting up Thanksgiving for the next episode. But anyway, what I did like about the past timeline was Miguel being sort of petty about Rebecca's new love interest and him coming to Thanksgiving. He seemed definitely jealous, definitely territorial, and it's unusual to see Miguel act that way. He's usually not that way that we've seen in this series. I'm not sure at this point that Miguel has feelings for Rebecca necessarily, but I think he's grown to be used to being a part of this family and to being around, and he feels threatened by this new guy in some way. He feels that his place within the family is being threatened. Now, I'm not sure if he knows that consciously, but that's how I'm taking it for the time being. Stacy and I were both kind of confused as to where this whole thing with Miguel and Rebecca are going in the past timeline, because this is not when Rebecca and Miguel get together, which is the story that they're supposed to be telling this season. It can't happen now. It doesn't happen until after Randall's first child is born. Somewhere along the line, Miguel and Rebecca lose contact. Probably not like a big blow up, they just drift apart, and they reconnect after Randall has his child. We have seen that. We saw the Facebook message from Miguel during the course of that episode, which I believe was in season 3. And that's as far as we know so far, other than some of the comments that Miguel and Rebecca have made. So they aren't getting together right now. And it feels like sticking around in this timeline for as long as they are is kind of wasting our time a little bit, with not that many episodes left to go. The parts I didn't like about the past timeline is the Kevin and Sophie's marriage finally blowing up, how that was handled. It felt like they were flinging story points at us. It felt like that all season long, honestly. Everything just feels really rushed, really crammed. And of course, that's probably because they are well aware that their series is ending in like 12 episodes. And while Logan Schroyer as Kevin has been strong at points, as I've said in the past, I've never really bought him as a young Kevin. And his work here is not strong. In his zeal for what we see of her, she's good. She captures Kate's mannerisms perfectly. And Niles Fitch practically sounds like Sterling K. Brown. The weakest of the bunch is definitely Logan Schroyer. And then there's that little thing that they threw in the present day timeline, where they're suddenly saying that Toby and Kate have major problems in their relationship. She just kind of mentions this to Kevin during their little argument. Now, we've certainly seen a little bit of evidence of tension in their marriage, but we certainly haven't seen it been shown that it's as bad as Kate is saying during the course of this episode. It's a classic case of showing and not telling. Anyway, that's all I got for you for this video. This episode felt very jumbled. This is the worst offender of the season for trying to cram in way too much, when they really should have focused on the best plot line during the course of this episode, which has the strongest material. I wouldn't necessarily have found too much enjoyment out of an episode purely about ballet, but I think it would have been a stronger episode if they had done that. At any rate, I hope you enjoyed tonight's new episode. If you like this video and want to support the channel, there are a number of ways to do so. You can follow me on Twitter at Core Production. You can join my 2 Facebook pages, one my Corman Productions page, as well as the This Is Us discussion page. You can buy something from the Corman Productions store on Zazzle. You can buy me a coffee, which is a new way to support content creators such as myself. And of course, you can like, share, and comment on my video, as well as subscribing to my channel. This is Dave from Corman Productions, signing off.